All right. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. How's everybody doing? What's going on? Coming at you live and direct. What's going on? Happy Sunday to the Facebook community. Happy Sunday to the YouTube community. It's Shabaka Amen, nutrition performance coach and creator of the PlantBased Loser Challenge. Welcome. And thanks for tuning in live. I appreciate your attention and time. You'll find that this discussion is an interview / discussion. You'll find it to be very insightful. And I'm believing that it's going to be inspirational as well. We're going to lead with an interview. This is a little different than normal, but just go with the flow and you can expect great value. I'm going to introduce Chef TR. She's going to ask me some questions. So we're going to do interview style, and then I'm going to bring a special guest on the platform so you can hear directly from him. And as you can all see, for those of you, and before we deep dive into this interview and discussion, if you're watching live right now, make sure to share this with somebody you know. Share it on your Facebook profile page so other people that you care about can be in the know. Okay, on with us live to receive this valuable content and learn some things and receive some insight and some valuable information, because 2020 is coming up. So as you can tell, tonight's title is Creating an Epidemic in Metabolic Health and Making Weight Loss Contagious in America. And what I'm going to do is bring Chef TR on screen so she can start asking me some questions, because she wanted to interview me, and she has her community on live with us right now as well. And for those who don't know who Chef TR is, Tara Robinson, vegan chef extraordinaire, creator of the famous Uncheesecake. And the Uncheesecake, for those who don't know, is a gourmet vegan cheesecake line created by Chef Tara Robinson, Chef TR. So she's going to come on live now, and she has some questions for me. And then we're going to bring a special guest on, Paul, shortly as well. All right, Chef TR, what's going on?
Hey, you got my name mixed up.
Tasha.
That's okay. Yeah, it was a typo. That's okay. It's all right.
I don't know why Tara came to mind. But, folks, as you can see, Chef TR, the T is for Tasha.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I'm so used to calling you Chef TR. I don't even
exactly
you by your real name, which is,
you don't even know my name. That's a shame.
I do, but my brain retrieved Tara versus Tasha, and I know it's Tasha. That's the power of the brain. It definitely is an associative mechanism, and so sometimes we get a little glitch.
Exactly, that's okay.
Yeah. So we've got Paul waiting, and then I'll invite him on at the right time. Paul, I can see you. So what we're going to do is kick off the interview. I know Chef TR has some questions for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And before that, what I want to do, I want to introduce you to my community, because a lot of people may not know who you are. We've worked together recently. I met Shabaka Amen in Chicago. He gave me an awesome testimonial for the Uncheesecake. and he has brought me to Charlotte a few weeks ago. We had a dessert and wine party. It was so much fun. However, a lot of my viewers don't really know who you are. So I
Uh-oh.
wanted to kind of introduce
That's a
you.
low down, dirty shame.
Okay. Well, this is Shabaka Amen. He's Charlotte's first plant-based vegan personal trainer. He's a certified personal trainer and a nutritional performance coach for 21 years. And he's the former owner of Charlotte's first plant-based and vegan personal training and fitness facilities, the Body of Your Dreams personal training studio, and the Plant Fit Gym from 2005 to 2017. He's made several appearances on Charlotte's Today and has been chosen to speak at Charlotte Veg Fest on 3 different occasions. In March of this year, he launched the PlantBased Loser Challenge, the online 21-day plant-based weight loss challenge for those pursuing weight loss and to achieve health success. Shabaka's mission and the purpose of the Plant-Based Loser brand is to create an epidemic of metabolic health and make weight loss contagious in America. This marks his 31-year anniversary on a plant-based and vegan diet. Congrats.
I appreciate that. And what I want to do, thank you for the introduction, Chef Tasha Robinson. Chef
Yes.
TR, I appreciate it. I call it, it's funny because I remember reading in some personal development literature that the 2 most important days of our lives are 1, the day we're born, and 2, a day we discover why we're born. And I have to say, I'm very, very grateful and appreciative to know why I'm here on the planet. And, it takes a lot of courage to really tune into why you were born, to find out why the Creator dropped you off here on planet Earth. And then upon that discovery, to be about the business of helping people and contributing in your own unique way, in your own unique flavor. So I first of all want to say I'm grateful to God, and we all have a creator. None of us made ourselves, regardless of your religion or your spiritual philosophy. None of us made ourselves. So hats off to the Supreme Being for creating this platform and using me as an instrument. I'm grateful that we were partnered. We have like a nice kinship, you and I, like a brother and sister bond. And so blessed to know you. And we've talked many, many times. And of course, we collaborated on the Uncheesecake vegan dessert and wine party a few weeks ago. It was the most lit vegan party in Charlotte in 2019. And so, but before we go further, I want to bring on a special guest because honestly, I am able to do these things because of people. I genuinely care for people. I think that's why the Creator made me born in June 25th. I'm cancer, and cancers are known to care, have an extraordinary empathy and care. We nurture people, and it has served people well because I've got the personality to support people. So I want to bring on someone who's very special, near and dear to me. We haven't met personally, and this individual reached out to me not long ago, and because I am definitely about God's work, which is supporting people on this journey to not just lose weight, but the real game is helping people achieve metabolic health. And Paul reached out. He's an African-American man, Black man, pursuing weight loss and pursuing health success. And Paul, I want to bring you on so that we can introduce you to those who are watching. Paul, good evening. How you doing, Paul?
Doing good.
Good to see you, man. Welcome to the Plant-Based Loser platform.
Hi, Paul.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
And look,
Good to see you.
Paul is a special guest for in my book a lot of reasons, because number one, let me take something off screen just so that it does not. There we go. We want the viewers to see Paul. Paul, you're near and dear to me, even though we never met, because being an African American man myself, being a black man here in America, and knowing the data on how African American men specifically are being impacted by metabolic syndrome conditions, and the whole obesity epidemic is hitting us hard. Anytime I have an opportunity to serve a black man, an African American man, it's a special honor and privilege. And God has just made me as a people person. I genuinely love all people, and I have Caucasian people, black people. I think I have somebody of Indian descent who are all part of the plant-based loser community. But in 2020, I've received a vision to focus on communities of color. So more recently, Paul reached out, as well as another African American gentleman, and it's an honor to serve you, Paul, because hey man, we're on the mission. We had a little text message back and forth today, and he reached out to me to share some intricacies around his journey, because today is a very special day for Paul. Today marks day number one for Paul in his 21-day plant-based weight loss journey. This is day number one.
Wow.
He's participating in the Plant-Based Loser Challenge, and today is day number one. How do you feel, Paul?
I feel good. Had a we had a couple talks today. Kind of fell off the wagon because he hasn't told everybody, but I'm a diabetic, and I think I took too much insulin. When you're not doing certain things, it's one of those things I have to monitor myself. So he got me back on track and gave me some advice about when to eat, the time and when to eat, and what to eat. So it's been going pretty good. I haven't had any issues for the rest of the day, so it's going well.
Congratulations, Paul. I commend you because we have a lot of black males in our communities who they kind of bypass their health. It's all about the football games, going to work, and stuff like that, taking care of the families. But sometimes I believe so many men, they kind of bypass that. And for you to take charge of your health, I commend you, because my motto is health is wealth. You can work all day long. You can work as hard as you can. But if your health is not, if you don't sustain your health, what is it good for? You know what I'm saying? So I commend you for that.
Yeah, I've had, don't know a lot of my background, but I had an irregular heartbeat. I had to get an ablation. I've been overweight for probably about 20 years. I've always been a big guy, but I think it was about 13 years ago, I was diagnosed as diabetic. But things been progressively getting worse, and it seemed like no matter what I did, how much I worked out, it was nothing working. And I got an issue now where I'm short of breath trying to work out. So I knew it was going to have to make major changes. So I'm looking forward to this journey and taking that first step. So that's where I'm at with it.
And one of the things that I shared with Paul earlier was that, we had our coaching exchange through Messenger, and I'm appreciative of you reaching out, Paul, because, this journey, the key to all the data shows that anyone who's been successful at losing weight long term and able to sustain a healthy weight range has done so in a support group or community context. And
Okay.
so it's a joy, it's a pleasure, it's a passion. You notice, when you respond, when you send something through Messenger,
Mhm.
I'm on it,
Yeah.
because it's important to there's an emergency going on right now. People, no one who has had a heart attack could predict that they were going to have a heart attack. No one who's had a stroke, which I call brain attack, could predict when they were going to have a stroke.
Right.
So you have so many people of color who have metabolic syndrome conditions like hypertension or elevated blood glucose, which is caused by insulin resistance. They may be pre-diabetic or approaching pre-diabetic. They're dealing with abnormal cholesterol levels and high or elevated triglycerides. These and the first condition being abdominal belly fat, abdominal obesity, or central obesity, which most people, most Americans, including African Americans, don't know that abdominal obesity is a precursor condition for the other metabolic syndrome conditions like abnormal cholesterol or high blood pressure or elevated blood glucose caused by insulin resistance. People don't know that metabolic syndrome is a cluster of risk factors that I just named. And in medicine, they say if you have 3 out of the 4 I named, you have metabolic syndrome. I don't agree with that. I believe that if you have 2 of those conditions, starting with abdominal obesity and either elevated blood glucose or hypertension or abnormal cholesterol. If you have just 2 out of what I just named, in my opinion, based off my research and dealing with people for 21 years, you've got metabolic dysfunction. And metabolic syndrome at its core is metabolic dysfunction. And so what most African Americans and most Americans do not know is that when you have central obesity or excess abdominal belly fat, you're on your way to those other conditions, which put you at risk for cancer, which put you at risk for a heart attack, which put you at risk for a stroke, which put you at risk for type 2 diabetes, which put you at risk for non-alcoholic fatty liver. So I'm grateful to have Paul on because he's an African American man. And what's near and dear to me is we've got to live longer. We need to not just be around to see our children grow up. We need to be thinking, I want to be a great grandfather at least.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So salute to Paul. Salute to Paul. Salute to you, Paul, because the action you're taking right now means you care.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, Shabaka Amen, I have a question for you
Yeah.
because we may have some viewers who are watching this program and they're wondering. Now, there's some men and there's some women who may be, quote unquote, not overweight or considered overweight. Can they still benefit from this program?
So to answer your question, yes, because this program is for anyone pursuing health success. And when I say health success, I'm talking about metabolic health, because all health and all disease starts within our cells, within the what they call intracellular environment. And within the cell, there's DNA within the cell, there are mitochondria. And so once there's mitochondrial damage or damage to the mitochondria, medicine lets us know, medical science has informed us that that's the basis of chronic inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And so many African Americans are on a standard American diet. And whether you're 5 pounds overweight, 10 pounds overweight, if you can look down at your abdomen and honestly say, you know, I have more fat, or the circumference of my waistline has increased since my 20s. Well, guess what? That's not just a cosmetic issue. That's an indication that metabolically you're moving into a progressive state of metabolic dysfunction. And one thing about seeing any amount of excess abdominal belly fat is progressive, meaning once you start seeing it without any lifestyle improvement, without increasing plant-based food consumption, combined with exercise, you're going to be in a state metabolically that I refer to as weighting, WEIGHTING, a metabolic state of progressive weight gain. And once you're in that metabolic state without any change or improvement in your eating style, you're going to progressively gain weight quarterly or year after year. That's why people that gain weight, they gain weight progressively and annually. And so whether a person's overweight or not, if you want to cancer proof your body, if you want to breast cancer proof your body, if you want to protect your body from ovarian cancer, if you want to protect your body from other chronic diseases, the number one killer of Americans is heart disease, women and men. If you want to protect your body from chronic diseases, then the Plant-Based Loser Challenge is for you, because even beyond 21 days, it's a community. There are resources that provide you with an eating style that's going to chronic disease proof your biology.
Exactly. I have another question. Going back to the former question I just asked, because I know a lot of people, they're on the slimmer side and they want to cleanse and they want to, go on a plant-based program, such as yours. Now, some of those people may be afraid of losing too much weight. How do you answer those folks?
Most American adults are overweight.
Mm-hmm.
Most Americans, regardless of age bracket and gender, are overweight. So we're talking about 70% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
So given where we are in society, most people can stand to reduce some level of body fat. And it's important that everybody says they want to be healthy. You hear it all the time, right?
Oh, yes.
I want to be healthy. But most people don't understand what being healthy is all about. And so, it's important that people begin to take seriously the importance of increasing their plant-based food consumption, because the nutrients in plant-based foods, the antioxidants, the phytonutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, the plant sterols, the fiber, along with the macronutrients, water, protein, fat, and carbohydrate, our biologies as humans thrive from those nutrients. And when we consume high amounts, all we're doing is making our body disease proof.
Exactly.
So everybody can benefit from the challenge.
Exactly.
It's just powerful. Like I said, Paul's on day number 1. And meal by meal, he's going to be upregulating his metabolism.
Mm-hmm.
See, people fail to realize that the health they say they want, they can achieve one meal at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time we eat, there's always a reaction.
Exactly.
There's always a biochemical reaction. There's always a intracellular or metabolic reaction. There's always a reaction in tissue, which is physiology. There's a reaction in your liver. There's a reaction in your kidneys. There's a reaction in all systems, because whatever we eat those nutrients, if it's plant-based foods, those nutrients end up in the blood. And the blood is circulating and moving at about 3 miles an hour.
Exactly.
So here again, Paul, know that every single meal you consume on that meal plan, you are literally upregulating your metabolism, and you're impacting your pancreas beta cells. You're improving how your beta cells in your pancreas perform. Because you've got type 2 diabetes, which is mainly insulin resistance, as opposed to type 1 being more like an autoimmune, and where the pancreas is not producing the insulin. So your body is producing insulin, and you've got an opportunity to undo insulin resistance. Every single meal's going to contribute to that. And this is coming from medicine. They got the clinical evidence on how a nutrient and fiber dense plant-based diet that's well balanced can treat, can arrest, can reverse type 2 diabetes. It's happening all around the country.
Exactly.
So the only people that are living with type 2 diabetes is only by choice.
Exactly.
Only due to a lack of awareness or ignorance.
Exactly.
And some people are just going to settle for being a food slave.
Exactly.
Food addiction is taking people out.
Yes.
Food slavery, as far as African Americans, this is the issue of food slavery. Our bodies are fine. People say black don't crack. Well, I challenge that. Black does crack. Black does crack if we eat like crap.
Yes. Now, Shabaka Amen, you just mentioned eating like crap. Now, being that we're about to go into 2020 and people are focusing on, okay, I got to change my diet. I have to go this way. I have to go that way. And they have so many different diet plans to choose from. And one of the most popular nowadays is the keto diet. Now, can you explain the benefits of going with your program versus the keto diet plan?
There's a tendency in America with most people to, when it comes to eating habit change, people have a tendency to resist change, for one. So there's a propensity to choose a diet that's as close to what they're normally accustomed to. Dr. Atkins' diet was a diet that was promoted and marketed in America to help people lose weight. But the problem with the Dr. Atkins diet was that it increased your cardiovascular risk. So in modern times, according to physicians like Dr. Joel Furman and others, the keto diet hasn't been proven. It's a new kid on the block, but it resembles that same diet fad of high animal protein.
It sure does.
It does have that element of incorporating fatty dense plant-based foods. But the problem, according to many of the medical doctors, leading medical minds that deal with nutrition, is that long-term, they say that the keto diet is not beneficial for cardiovascular health. But then there's some evidence coming out that, a keto diet approach even supports muscle wasting and brings about some other issues as well.
Wow.
So, as far as the approach that I support is a nutrient and fiber dense plant-based diet, because it has the backing of clinical data, clinical studies, anecdotal evidence as well, scientific evidence as well. The China study.
Yes.
that came out, provided, survey studies. It was dealing with epidemiology, disease causation. So we know clinically and scientifically that a nutrient and fiber dense plant-based diet, also referred to as a whole foods diet, can not only prevent but also arrest and reverse the leading killers of Americans, like heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, hypertension. It cancer proofs the body. So, people have to decide that they no longer want to be food slaves, because food slavery is taking people out. The real epidemic is an epidemic in mass food addiction that I refer to as food slavery. And what is food slavery? It's widespread economic and nutritional consumption of highly processed industrialized foods. These foods are addictive and actually responsible for the epidemics of obesity and chronic diseases within the human population, and definitely the American population. So mass food addiction is really what's responsible for our epidemics of heart disease, obesity, and other chronic diseases, even cancer. It's food slavery. It's addiction. It's addictive cravings for sugary, salty, and fatty processed foods. That's what's killing people. Our biologies are fine.
Exactly. Another question. A lot of people feel, and a lot of people come to me, they feel, going to a plant-based diet, going to, vegan foods. Let me ask you this. What's the difference, in your opinion, between vegan foods and plant-based foods as far as your program is concerned?
Great question. So early on in the beginning, you mentioned that I've been on a plant-based and vegan diet for 31 years, which is a fact. So we can't afford to use those terms interchangeably anymore.
Exactly.
Because, see, a plant-based diet, we know we're talking about the consumption of fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, and grains. 5 plant-based food groups, with the exclusion of all animal products, which is any animals, whether they once flew in the air, swam in the water, or walked on land, and their byproducts like eggs and cheese. So a vegan diet, to be very technical and analytical and nutritionally accurate, a vegan diet consists of foods or food products labeled vegan. See, if you go into a grocery store and go into the produce aisle or section, you don't see fruits labeled vegan. You don't see vegetables labeled vegan. The only foods you see labeled vegan are packaged and highly processed.
Exactly.
So we can't afford to use plant-based and vegan interchangeably from a nutritional standpoint, because so many African Americans saw what the hell, and not understanding the nutritional science at a level that would cause them to understand the difference between a plant-based as opposed to a vegan diet. A lot of African Americans went vegan. They started doing the meatless burgers and the meatless hot dogs and the meatless this. So people were looking for vegan stuff, and they found it.
And from what I see, they bypassed the produce section. They bypassed the fruits and seeds and nuts, and they ended up spending tons of money, and then they got burnt out because it was so expensive and they couldn't keep it up. A
vegan diet can cause you, when I say vegan diet, I'm referring to all packaged and highly processed food products labeled vegan. So when I say a vegan diet, I'm referring to all packaged and highly processed food products labeled vegan. If you're on a vegan diet, not a plant-based diet, you can be obese. You can still have type 2 diabetes because the vegan diet, for example, there's certain popular burgers, and there's a lot of vegan products, vegan ice cream, highly processed vegan packaged food has sugar, has salt, has fat. And so sugar, salt, and fat is the sweet recipe for addiction, food addiction. And any vegan packaged, highly processed food item, does it have components from plant-based food? It does, but majority of the ingredients are not natural, are not unprocessed, or not whole. And so they're going to cause elevated blood glucose levels. They lack the fiber that plant-based foods contain. They lack the micronutrients. You know, like a Beyond Meat burger and an Impossible Burger are not rich in antioxidants. And they probably don't contain any antioxidants.
Exactly.
They're not rich in antioxidants. They're not rich in phytochemicals. Phytochemicals are the color pigments that are naturally occurring that you see in blueberries, or the green pigment, chlorophyll, and leafy greens, and the red in a red pigment in a red bell pepper, or apple skin, or raspberry. So vegan packaged processed foods are deficient in fiber, they're deficient in antioxidants, they're deficient in phytochemicals, they're deficient in vitamins, they're deficient in minerals, but they tend to be spiked with an ample amount of fat, sugar, or salt.
Exactly.
So we got to go plant-based with some vegan allowances.
Exactly.
Boom. I'm going to drop the mic. Look. I gotta catch it though. I gotta catch it. It costs too much money to drop this mic.
And you know what? When you just said that vegan allowances, a lot of people, they just think this is a boring lifestyle, eating plant-based foods. They feel that they cannot enjoy the same textures, the same type flavors. And in my experience dealing with clients, I tell them to throw the word vegan out the window and don't go too much on that label. Throw that label out of the window, throw it away.
Yeah.
And just go with, say, with your program, I'm sure you have smoothies. Smoothies are fast food. It's very simple, very easy. Tell us more about the foods you have on your program.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this as a segue to ask Paul a question. Paul, you had a meal, and I'm going to answer your question, Chef TR. You had dinner already, right?
Yes.
Which one of your meals, was it lunch or dinner, that you had beans? Did you have legumes in both?
No, I had black beans in both when I did the lunch and the dinner.
Okay.
I did 2 salads.
Were you full after lunch or dinner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so Paul is following, like all plant-based loser challenge participants, he's following a very powerful system that I formulated that's a plant-based metabolic weight loss plan. So Paul had a lunch meal and a dinner meal, and you heard what he said. Paul said he was full. And the reason why Paul was full is because every single plant-based food, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, whole grains, are fiber. Fiber only comes from unprocessed, whole, plant-based foods. And fiber takes up a lot of space in the stomach.
Exactly.
And so once you eat large portions or a large meal consisting of plant-based food, food. It takes up a lot of space in the stomach because of the fiber. It's full of protein. It's got adequate carbohydrates. It's got some fats. And of course, fats in plant-based foods are all beneficial fats.
Exactly.
But then it's high in antioxidants. The beans that Paul ate, the black beans that Paul ate, are high in what's called resistant starch, meaning when you consume beans, beans are one of the most powerful foods to consume for folks who are pre-diabetic or diabetic because most of the carbohydrate that's in beans don't get converted to sugar. It gets converted to resistant starch. And the resistant starch, once it's in our bowel or small and large intestine, gets converted to fatty acids. And so majority of the carbohydrates in beans does not get metabolized into sugar. Now we need glucose. We just need it from the ingestion of plant-based foods, not man-made, highly processed sugars that will cause issues metabolically.
Exactly.
So I wanted Paul to comment on that because today was day number 1. Paul, tomorrow is going to be even better for you because of the timing. And you
Right.
now know about portion size. See, he can eat a large meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. He can have whatever portion for those meals, portion size for each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner that he wants because we don't have to count calories because these foods are nutrient dense, nutrient fiber dense. They're beneficial for the cells. So if you increase the portion size, you just dump in more antioxidants and more phytochemicals, more enzymes, more fiber, more water, more vitamins and minerals in the blood.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
the therapeutic impact goes up when you eat greater portions. I said to Paul today, I said, Paul, take 4 handfuls of
Mhm.
leafy greens for your salad. Because if you take 4 or more handfuls of leafy greens and cut it up and add the other colorful vegetables on top, now you just increased the antioxidant power of the salad. And all those antioxidants and phytonutrients, all that chlorophyll is going to be in your blood. So if you make a salad, folks, don't have no little small side portion salad. You got to start eating from a functional medicine mindset. So Paul, he is going to balance his blood glucose. He's gonna undo insulin resistance 1 meal at a time. So to answer your question, Chef TR, because it's proprietary,
Mhm.
because it's a proprietary formulation, it consists. What I can share is the plant-based metabolic weight loss plan I formulated consists of 3 nutrient and fiber dense meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but also a metabolic smoothie, soup, and tea. And when I say metabolic smoothie, soup, and tea, this smoothie, soup, and tea was designed to have a therapeutic impact on the intracellular environment. So in the first 7 days, Paul, he's on a metabolic smoothie, soup, and tea for inflammation. And in
Mhm.
days 8 through 14, he'll be on a different smoothie, soup, and tea, a metabolic smoothie, soup, and tea for hormone imbalance.
Okay.
And in days 15 through 21, he'll be on another metabolic smoothie, soup, and tea for digestive issues. Now, why? Because we know scientifically that weight loss resistance, the inability of someone who's overweight to lose weight, is because of 3 reasons, 3 factors, 3 problems: chronic inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and digestive issues.
Mm-hmm.
So the metabolic smoothie soup and tea goes right at those factors which contribute to weight loss resistance.
Okay. Okay. Now I got another question for you. For those people who participated in your program, how many of them have lost weight in the first 2 weeks, and how much weight have they lost?
Look, I got to tell you. So I'm gonna attempt to show you, but I'm going to tell you that I have members who have actually lost. Trying to find it. One guy lost 26 pounds in 21 days. I have a member who has lost, Hakun Bey, lost 20 pounds in 21 days. His wife, Kaya, lost 18 pounds in 21 days. I have a cellular biologist by the name of Dr. Rosalind Lang. She's a pharmacologist, cellular biologist, and molecular biologist. She dropped 17 pounds in 21 days. Chef TR, check your mic because your mic looks like it's off.
Yes.
Okay. And you may have did it on purpose. But so there are over 60 weight loss testimonials on Instagram. And what's so cool about the plant-based metabolic weight loss plan I developed, I don't even have to train people. I'm getting better weight loss results with this intervention, with this plan I formulated, than most personal trainers who train people, put them through a rigorous exercise or fitness routine. I'm getting better weight loss results with people that I don't even have to train because I've cracked the code on how to combine specific plant-based foods in the form of solid meals, smoothie soups, and teas. I've cracked the code on how to get someone to go into a human who's overweight to go into fat burning the same day, meaning there's a weigh-in schedule I developed. The first weigh-in is on the morning of day number 4. So on the morning of day number 4, it's designed to let that member, that participant, know how much weight they lost in 3 days. Well, guess what the average weight loss is on the morning of day number 4? Most people lose 3, 4, 5, or 6 pounds of fat in 3 days. That's just normal. A pound a day, that's normal. That's normal. So, and this is whether they work out or not. A lot of plant-based loser members are not exercising. I encourage them to work out, but I'm not prescribing exercise to them as part of the protocol. Many of them do, some of them don't. So regardless of whether they exercise or not, eating is training their metabolism. So nutrients from plant-based foods in the right combination, I've discovered have a greater impact and influence than exercise. But of course, if you combine both, you have a synergism and you will exacerbate the beneficial results. But if you exercise and you're on a standard American diet, dealing with food addiction, and you're eating mostly from addictive cravings, which means your plant-based, your nutrient and fiber-dense plant-based food consumption is low, because according to the USDA, the average American derives less than 10% of their calories from unprocessed whole plant-based foods. And that's the reason why obesity and cancer and heart disease are in epidemic proportions, because the average American derives 60%, approximately 60% of their calories from highly processed foods. And 30% of calories in the average American's diet are derived from animal products. And actually less than 10% of calories are derived from plant-based foods, because ketchup and juice are in that category. So
Yes.
really, maybe 6% of calories are derived from nutrient and fiber-dense plant-based foods in the average American's diet. So let's take that 100% and scale it down to 10 meals. That means that out of 10 meals, 6 meals are highly processed, consist of highly processed meals. Out of 10 meals consumed, 6 meals are highly processed, consist of highly processed foods. Three meals out of 10 consist of animal products. And one point, maybe 1.4 of those meals are natural, unprocessed plant-based foods. And this is why we're in the situation we're in as Americans. People are afraid, people live in fear, and they believe that they have no control over their health destiny. And that's a
Exactly.
travesty. That's a travesty.
I agree. I agree. People, like I tell people, um, you should know your body better than your doctor does, because you're the one who, this is your home, this is where you live. So you should know more innately. We should know more about ourselves than the next person. So I agree.
And I want to ask Paul something, but I want to make a comment. Considering, my mission and my life's work, which is all about helping people achieve health success, helping people achieve metabolic health, in addition to helping people understand the power of a plant-based diet and how it can increase and enhance your quality of life, the quality of your moments, to live with an abundance of energy. Ultimately, I want to show people how to eat so that they can arrive at the cemetery late, not early.
Exactly.
I mean, we're on our way. We're going to get there, but we don't have to eat to show up early. That makes no sense. Let's get the most out of this.
Exactly. To live an abundant life.
Yes,
That's
full of
key.
energy, free from suffering, free from the suffering caused by diet-induced chronic diseases. And then premature death brings the suffering on our family.
Exactly.
We can't afford, after a plant-based diet. You're going to have to turn the volume down because I'm picking up an echo. African-American men, we just can't afford to die early.
Agreed.
Leaving a great life insurance policy behind for our families isn't good enough. They need us. We need to be here. We need to be available. We need to provide support for our children and our grandchildren, and I'll even say great-grandchildren, emotional support, not just financial support. So a life insurance policy isn't good enough. We need to be available. We need to, stories are passed down. Family history are typically passed down by men. It's men that spiritually feel an impulse to tell stories and to impart pride to young people. So when you have Black men dying prematurely because of food slavery, it disrupts our families. It creates unnecessary suffering, emotional suffering, and abandonment, and the grief that comes from death. Look at the devastation of being a Black man with children, with young children or teenagers, and dying in your 40s. We got to stop that. We can't do that to our families. We need to be here. We need to live. Same goes for African American women. You're hearing more about African American women are leading all segments of the population in America in the categories of obesity and overweight. It's African American women. And one of the greatest risk factors for cancer is being overweight. See, a lot of people don't know that. Abdominal belly fat. American women are leading all segments of the population in America in the categories of obesity. I don't think that's my, I just heard an echo. One of the greatest risk factors for cancer is being overweight. Are you all hearing the echo?
Yes.
Abdominal belly fat. So make sure you turn off your volume. Whoever has their volume on my page. That's my. I just heard. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So make sure you don't do anything different because you don't want to have the Facebook playing in the background because it'll cause an echo. But so that's my message to Black men is we need to be thinking in terms of being great grandfathers, at least great grandfathers. And that's a stretch for a lot of Black men who fear that they will die from heart disease or type 2, but we don't have to fear chronic disease. We just need to trust in this simple truth. And I want all Black men, this should go viral. Every Black man needs to hear what I'm about to say. We can control and influence our lifespan and the quality of our lives if we become conscientious about the fact that God equipped us with health potential. Within ourselves, the truth is, the greatest truth never told, is that the health that we seek or desire already exists within ourselves. And we can activate and express more of that potential, which is actually light waves or photons or electricity, by increasing our nutrient and fiber-dense plant-based food consumption. That's how you activate your health potential. Health potential starts with the amount of light that's being generated by the mitochondria. Once that light gets diminished because you're eating more highly processed foods, high amounts of animal products, very little to no plant-based foods and water, now that light goes down. Well, once someone dies, that means the light, the life force, the light has left the human body. But if your energy goes down, that's the first indication that you're close to death. It also is the first indication that you're going into fat storage. The first indication that you're going into fat burning is an increase in light or energy, as most people say, layman term, but energy is light. The first indication that you're in fat burning is an increase of the biophotons in your body. And that's measurable in a scientific setting, but you don't need instruments to tell you. You feel it because you say, oh, I feel lighter. Mm-hmm. And my skin is brighter. Oh, I see a glow in my skin. You see, that's all an indication of increased light coming out the skin because the eyes can pick up. If you see someone's skin and you see a glow, because our eyes, they can process light coming out the skin. You say someone's skin looks radiant, that's because your eyes can detect more photons coming out their skin because you're putting more phytochemicals, phytonutrients, the color pigments in your blood from eating more leafy greens, more blueberries. So we don't have to die from heart disease. Black men, we need to be thinking about becoming great grandfathers as a goal, lifespan goal. Set a lifespan goal. Black women need to set a lifespan goal to be great grandmothers. We got to heal our metabolism, and wine and seafood is not the answer. Exactly. I know I'm gonna rub some people the wrong way with that statement. I know some of y'all Black folk love wine and seafood.
Hey. Here in Charleston, that's the thing is seafood. They love seafood. Seafood is the thing here.
Paul, you want to add to what was shared? Because this journey,
Mhm.
have you ever
Well,
gone plant-based before?
no, never been on plant-based before. I've been on uh, like 2 shakes in a meal. Um, I'm not gonna lie and tell you I don't love my beef. I mean, I gave up pork 10 years ago, so anytime I eat pork by accident, I get sick. So I don't touch that. But you did touch on something, I've been thinking about it. I have a daughter she's 10, and my son is 16. And one of the focuses that I've had is like, he lives with his mom, and he needs me now. He didn't need me before, but he needs me now. Not saying that my daughter doesn't need me, because she does also, but he's going into manhood. And I was thinking, like, I'm working out and I can't breathe. I got a regular heartbeat, 265, 70 pounds. Something's going to change. And I'm diabetic. Now my blood pressure went up. And I'm like, these are all the recipes for disaster
Yep.
in the coming years. And I mean, I recognize that. I just turned 50. Well, actually, I'll be 51. And I want another 30, 40 years on this earth. I don't want to, die at 60, which is 10 years from now. Like, oh my God, really? I remember, growing up being athletic. I mean, I can't do nothing now. I should be able to play basketball, at least run a couple games. I can't do that. Within 3 minutes, I'm out of breath. And I know it's the weight. It has something to do with, who knows what it has to do with,
Elevated blood glucose.
mm,
Elevated blood glucose creates what's called AGEs,
mhm,
advanced glycation end products, which is the effect that excess sugars or glucose circulating in the blood, how it impacts tissue like
mhm.
brain tissue. They're calling dementia and Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. The
Wow.
leading minds, the leading minds in medicines, those who are on the leading edge of research in studying insulin resistance, the impact of insulin resistance, elevated blood glucose on the brain, loss of memory, early signs and symptoms that someone's on their way towards dementia and Alzheimer's. Um, the impact of elevated blood glucose on lung tissue. You see,
Mhm,
because when there's excess sugars floating around in the blood, it starts to break down protein structures. So that's what they call um, advanced glycation end products, AGEs. And but meal by meal, Paul, you are undoing it. Like every single meal that you consume from this moment forth is going to improve your intracellular mechanisms, is going to balance those hormones. It's going to start healing and repairing tissue. You're going to start noticing subtle changes. Of course, one of the indications that you're metabolically going in a new beneficial direction is an increase in energy. So I'm not sure if you noticed that today, but if not today, it'll be kicking in. I don't know if you notice any subtle change in energy today at all. It'll kick in tomorrow because you'll have your timing down as far
right.
as bills.
Yeah,
And
when my blood sugar dropped today, that always zaps all my energy.
yeah,
When
yeah.
it dropped today, because
You
what we talked about.
you went too long without eating. And so we had a little coaching session and we tightened that up. But yeah, I commend you, Paul. I'm proud of you, and my support is there because here again, there's so many African American men as well as women. It's really an American problem. I've seen it in black folks, I've seen it in white folks. However, communities of color, people of color, African Americans, the Hispanic community are being hit by metabolic syndrome conditions. Paul just mentioned them. He talked about, he didn't mention it, but as I'm sharing with you information about metabolic syndrome conditions, the first condition in metabolic syndrome is central obesity, also called abdominal obesity, also referred in layman's terms as excess abdominal belly fat. And that opens the way, like Paul mentioned, he noticed his blood pressure's up. And he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 13 years ago. And now, because of the meals he's consuming in this metabolic smoothie super tea, he's got a wonderful opportunity to undo these symptoms and heal the underlying issue. What's the underlying issue? Metabolic dysfunction, intracellular malfunction. Even Dr. Sebi, back in as early as the 80s, he put out literature that I had accessed in the late 1980s. Dr. Sebi talked about all disease is cellular malfunction. Mm-hmm. And when I read that at 18 years of age, I had a light bulb aha moment. It doesn't matter where that disease manifested, whether they call it heart disease, kidney failure, kidney disease, degenerative brain issues. It doesn't matter. All disease is cellular malfunction. And now modern science is talking about metabolic dysfunction. Even cancer, the leading, Linus Pauling, some of the greatest minds, scientific minds, understand that cancer is a metabolic disease. Because metabolic just means intracellular. Disease first starts within the cell. Mm-hmm. So how do you get the cell to turn over so that you activate the light, the health potential? I'm going to say it again, that light, activate the light and health potential. Because health, let's strip it down. Health is really, no one's said this, health comes down to the amount of biophotons being produced, generated by the mitochondria. How do you get the mitochondria to produce more light? They don't work for free. You must pay them by giving them more nutrient and fiber-dense plant-based foods. It's so simple. But in the process, you're going to free yourself from the number one obstacle, stopping people from losing weight and preventing people from experiencing metabolic syndrome conditions. And what is that? Food slavery, food addiction. Once you start eating these plant-based meals, your cravings start to disappear. And it can kick in day one. By tomorrow, Paul, you experience some sugar cravings because your timing was off. Mm-hmm. But come tomorrow, by you eating at the right time and eating larger portions, I guarantee you won't have any cravings for sugary, salty, and fatty processed foods. Guarantee you. I see it all the time.
Okay. I mean, I'm not craving any, which is surprising. I'm not craving meat, because like I said, I like my beef, but I'm not craving beef. Earlier I was craving a little sugar and you told me, what to do. So I'm looking forward to that, because you do feel like, it's like, man, I want a soda. I want some cookies. I want, some ice cream, and, being a diabetic, those things ain't good for me. I know. Mm-hmm. It's been hard to deal with that sometimes.
Yep.
You feel like you don't have. Yeah.
I'm going to give you something to look forward to as you go through metabolic repair, because every meal you consume is keeping you in metabolic repair. Your metabolic repair started today. Now, how can I say that with such boldness and certainty? Because, see, people don't understand. Everything you eat causes a reaction. If you eat something that's nutrient and fiber dense, it creates a beneficial reaction. If you eat something that's animal product based and or highly processed, you create an adverse or detrimental metabolic reaction. Reactions are either beneficial or detrimental. So your cells have already begun to shift. But here's the law of compounding. When you have a nutrient and fiber dense meal in the morning, then another one at lunch, then another one at dinner, then you had the smoothie, soup, and tea, that's compounding. Now you're going to repeat that tomorrow. So you're going to feel better tomorrow than today. But then the next day, now you have the law of compounding. And the law of compounding is always at work, meaning whatever you do consistently multiplies, compound. And so all you got to do is stay devoted, but timing is critical, Paul, because by eating the nutrient and fiber dense plant-based meals, that 2.5 hour slot, now you're going to influence your blood glucose levels in a favorable way, because these are low to intermediate glycemic foods full of fiber. You know, fiber, what's so critical with diabetics and fiber? Plant-based foods are the only source of fiber. So fiber ensures that glucose enters the bloodstream very slow. Juices, raisins, and all dry fruits cause the sugar to enter the bloodstream fast. And when that happens, the insulin, being the manager of blood glucose or sugar, insulin has to rise fast. So a spike in insulin, because of the speed at which glucose or sugar enters the blood, is the problem. So everything you're eating is fiber. So there's all this sugar's entering the blood very slow. It's a time release situation now. And that by itself is the reason why you didn't need as much insulin today. That's why. That's why. Because nothing you ate caused your insulin to spike or rise rapidly. And glucose entered your blood slow because all the foods you ate were perfectly designed for your body. So your medications will be adjusted. I'm in the process of waiting to hear back I reached out to 2 physicians so that they could collaborate with us on regulating your medication, because that's a part of the journey too. And so I'm waiting to hear back. I'm thinking by tomorrow, Monday, I should hear back from either Dr. Stevenson or what's her name? She's an African-American physician. Because I know of maybe 4 or 5 or 6 physicians. Dr. Tinka Barnes, I reached out to her, hadn't heard back from her yet. So Dr. Tinka Barnes, if you're on live or somebody who knows her, make sure you reach out to me. We want to help this brother right here, Paul. And Dr. Christopher Stevenson, I've collaborated with him some years ago. If anybody knows Dr. Christopher Stevenson, have him reach out. We want to make sure Paul gets the kind of medical support that he deserves. As far as adjusting the meds, he's on a really amazing plant-based metabolic weight loss plan. And my point is, once we repair your metabolism and get you to a point where you're not even dealing with those symptoms that come with type 2 diabetes, you get your pancreas beta cells performing at a higher level. We undo what's blocking those muscle cell receptors, which is what blocks the muscle cell receptors, preventing the insulin to transport all that glucose in the cell at the level that it should. We can get you on Chef TR's uncheesecake as a dessert option, because now she ships out. And her uncheesecake is nutrient and fiber dense, is nothing processed.
Yes. And coming next year, I will have cake specifically for people who are diabetic, and also people. This recipe will have no. The cakes will not spike your insulin. I will be incorporating monk fruit into the cakes. So yes, and monk fruit is a wonderful alternative sweetener. I've used it. My husband, he was diagnosed diabetic years ago, and we got him his diabetes reversed. And monk fruit was one of the sweeteners I used to help that.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Any further comments or questions? I mean, we covered quite a bit. You know, Chef TR, did you have any questions for me or Paul?
No,
Salute
you
Paul.
answered everything.
Hey, well, thank you so much. Salute to Paul. I'm proud of you, Paul. I know you're at the beginning, but I'm proud of you because, you know, as I said to you, I'm a guide. As a nutrition performance coach, I'm a guide. But my question, working with you and people, I want to help people become the hero in their own health success.
Exactly.
And I want these stories and these narratives to go from chronic disease to the achievement of metabolic health. And we can do it. You know,
Exactly.
we can do it. We just have to get wise and say, hey, I'm tired of being a food slave. Because last point I want to make is people don't realize that, and this is important to hear, people don't know that big food, and when I say big food, I'm talking about the food industry. The food industry is really behind food slavery. Food slavery is created and orchestrated by the food industry, which a lot of people refer to as big food, through the manufacture, marketing, and distribution of highly processed, hyper palatable food, so-called food products comprised of sugar, salt, and fat, and they're all designed to engineer human addiction because these food companies have food chemists and they make the foods to ensure that we come back.
Exactly. Exactly. But one comment I want to make, once you get on to plant-based foods, you become addicted to that. You become addicted to the way it tastes. You become addicted to the way it makes you feel. So you want to be addicted to the right foods. You want to be addicted to plant-based foods. So, and trust me, that craving for beef will go away. And a little secret, I like to saute onions and put them in salads and stuff. That's what you are craving. You're craving that taste for the onions, for the seasoning. So
The flavor.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, because meat, I remember eating meat back in the day. Meat really don't have no flavor.
It doesn't. I tell everybody that.
It's the plant-based stuff that make it flavorful.
Exactly. It's plants that make it taste like what it tastes like. You know, whip up some onions, saute some onions, some sweet onions, some like when I make my food, people think they're eating meat. I'm like, no, you're eating mushrooms, you're eating plants. It's seasoned.
Paul, you can add garlic powder to your beans.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to add any salt, with the exception for in one of the recipes, and I won't go into detail. One of the recipes requires a little sea salt because of the iodine. But outside of that, there's no added salt, as you know, to any of the meals. But you can add garlic powder, oregano, thyme, onion powder, any herb or spice. And you can get something called Bragg's liquid aminos that you can spray on your beans. Man, between Bragg's liquid aminos, or if you like white pepper or black pepper or garlic powder. I'm big on garlic powder. I love garlic. I love garlic powder on a lot of stuff.
Yes, exactly. Stay away from Laurie's seasoning. Cut that out. Don't use that. And smoked paprika. Smoked paprika, I'm telling you,
Gotta
that
stay
adds.
away from it. Oh, you can have it. I love smoked paprika. I know about it.
That gives you that depth of flavor, that smokiness that a lot of meats have.
Yes.
And Shabaka, you said Bragg's liquid aminos. Look for the coconut aminos. That's a little bit a better choice because the sodium content is less.
Mhm.
I used to use the Bragg's. They have it in coconut aminos as well, but make sure you don't use soy. Use the coconut. You can use Bragg's coconut aminos or any other coconut aminos brand. The sodium content is so much less than the soy counterpart.
I'll have to post that product because I'm familiar with it. I'll have to post the coconut aminos
Yes.
because Bragg's put that out not very long ago.
Yes, they did. They did.
Yeah. So the good thing is, sometimes, unfortunately, you'll hear people say eating like a bird. And then over the years, I would tell people, well, birds fly, So I always have a comeback when people, say something. But nowadays, people, you don't hear that so much because people recognize that the new sexy, the new cool is being healthy.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Paul, the beautiful thing about this, you got me, you got the creator, you got me, you got a community of people, you got Chef TR now. So you on this journey amongst many.
Yes.
You don't have to do this by yourself no more. That's over and done with.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man. So thank you for your commitment and your time. Send me your weigh-in. Did you weigh in yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
And you can send that to me via messenger, and you can print out the plant-based loser weigh-in schedule. Chef TR, any final remarks? Paul, any final remarks or questions? I'm appreciative of both of you.
Appreciate you. I'm just about done. I just want to again congratulate Paul on his journey. And you will have a good time. The food is going to be great. Just enjoy the food. Enjoy plant-based food.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Oh yeah, and for folks and Paul, I want to say thank you for your time. If you got to go, I won't hold you any further. If you can stay on until we wrap up, that's fine. We're going to wrap up in a couple minutes. But for those out there watching and listening, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you found it very valuable. 2020 can be a big year for you, and I want you to know, and I said it with all the love and care in my heart, based off of 21 years of coaching and training people, based off research. You already have weight loss potential trapped inside your cells. It's free. You can liberate that energy. You need support. I think it's wise for you to not try to DIY this anymore. You've been doing it every year in January, and how has it worked for you? I want you to also know that weight loss is easy. Yes, I just said that. Weight loss is easy. Very easy for your body. The body doesn't prefer to store fat. Which one it does, store or burn fat, depends on the conditions you create. So understand that weight loss is easy, and you actually have the potential, health potential, already inside your cells. In other words, you're not deficient. You don't lack the potential for weight loss. You have the potential for weight loss inside your cells. And I would love the opportunity to help you activate your metabolic health, which is God-given, and lose weight 1 pound a day, 2 pounds a day, which is what people who participate in the Plant-Based Loser Challenge are doing. Reach out. You see the information below. Come on and join the family. It's over 74, 5 of us now. We're in about 8 different states. And come on, Let's not try to do it alone. If your vehicle breaks down, last point, if your vehicle breaks down, when people's cars break down, they don't pause and try to repair and fix them themselves. You take it to a specialist, somebody who's got the tools, who has the equipment, they got the specialized knowledge. They repair cars every day. When it comes to overweight and obesity, don't try to do it. Don't try to repair your metabolism. Stop trying to be the mechanic for your metabolism. Leave it up to me. I've already figured it out for you. Look forward to helping you repair your metabolism, lose weight, and achieve metabolic health so you can exist long term for your family. I'm looking forward to helping you show up at the cemetery late, not early. Well, on that note, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for tuning in to the Plant-Based Loser platform on YouTube and Facebook. I love you in advance. I look forward to working with you. 2020 is the year to end abdominal obesity in communities of color. We're going to say no to metabolic syndrome conditions. We're going to say yes to health success. Have a wonderful night.
Good night.
Thanks, Chef TR.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Bye, Paul.
Bye-bye. Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Happy holidays, folks. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you for your attention and time.